How's it going, everybody? And I am not set up. I do that from time to time. I accidentally hit the record button because you hit this, y'all can't see it, the Zoom stuff that appears here, but I just went one step too far. Hang on, let's get set up. Now we can get rolling. So this does, in the book I'm writing, I went over James 4:4 today, and so we're gonna go over that. Friendship with the world is hatred of God. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work. So remember those list of sins in Galatians 5:19 through 21 do include envy and strife, arguing, bickering, fighting. And so there's the strife mentioned again. You cannot take those sins to the grave. The Lord will call you out of that. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partially and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. From whence comes wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence, even of your lust that war in your members? Ye lust and have not, ye kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. Ye fight and war, yet ye have not, because ye ask not. Ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lust. Would y'all like to read that in the New Living? It's called Drawing Close to God. What is causing the quarrels and fights among you? Don't they come from evil desires at war within you? You want what you don't have, so you scheme and kill to get it. You are jealous of what others have, but you can't get it, so you fight and wage war to take it away from them. Yet you don't have what you want because you don't ask God for it. And of course, God's not a magic genie. And people take these and they get misled down that magic genie hole. If God's created the end from the beginning, and he has, declared the end from the beginning, everything is set. So you're asking to be able to handle God's will. Jesus said, it'd really be great if you remove this coming death from me. But not my will, Father. Your will be done. When he taught us how to pray, it was, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. God's will is set. What you're going to eat for lunch next Thursday or not, if you skip lunch, all ordained by God from before the foundation of the world. Everything is set in stone. Everything in the mind of God always has been and always will be. It will be forever, for eternity. And this type of forever and eternity go backwards and forwards. It's not just from this day forward to eternity. It's always was, always will be. You don't alter that because you decided to ask God for something. God will draw you to proper prayer. And sometimes you get it, and sometimes you don't. But he drew you to the asking in the proper way. I mean, Paul talked about how he was asking God to remove that thorn from him, and I think he said he asked 3 times, and God refused to do it. God refused to answer Paul's prayer of the thorn in his side. I really butchered that, but what was Paul's thorn in the flesh? 2 Corinthians 12. 3 times it says, I pleaded with the Lord about this, that it should leave me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. So God didn't answer his prayer. 2 Corinthians 2:12. So we'll go 10 through 14, verses before it, verses after it. Lest Satan should get an advantage on us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Furthermore, when I came to Troas to preach God's gospel, and a door was opened unto me of the Lord. Am I in the wrong place? Hang on, let me go back and find out when, what, where, and how, and why that was. 2 Corinthians 12. Oh, it's 2 Corinthians 12. And it looks like verses 8 and 9. Second Corinthians 12. Let's go 7 through 11. And this is Paul talking. Unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan, to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord 3 times, thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in your weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. So he's like, I'll take my salvation and not get this thorn pain removed from me. And we can read that in the New Living. Just in case you don't like my interpretations. Remember, the New Living is a much more weaker, watered down version, but, you know, let's just see. Even though I received such wonderful revelations from God, so to keep from becoming proud, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger from Satan to torment me and keep me from becoming proud. And so when you have the truth, you can't go around and flex on everybody with it. Truth's only meant for sheep. You just can't beat up goats with it. After the second admonition, let them go. Maybe they're just going to be a lost sheep until the end times. Or before the end times, it would have just been maybe they're going to receive it another way. But they're not meant to receive it from you. So let them go. 3 times I begged the Lord to take it away. Each time he said, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I'm glad to boast about my weakness. And notice in the King James, it wasn't boast, because there's no pride, there's no boastfulness, there's no proud, there's no bragging in sheep. But he's saying, what he's saying is, you know, basically he's leaning into his weaknesses that the Lord has given him, so that the power of Christ can work through him even better. He says, that's why I take my pleasure in my weaknesses. So anyway, did your prayers get answered? Did his prayer get answered? No. Because God had a different purpose? Yes. So when you read these other things, well, you didn't ask. If you'd asked, you'd have got it. No. Folks, everything in context. And there's always deeper meanings and verses and stories that trump other verses or stories. Jesus taught, and when Jesus is telling us how to pray, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, he said, God knows the things you need before you ask. So when Paul's asking for the thorn to be removed, God already knew he didn't need it, that what he needed was for it to remain, to keep him exactly where the Lord had him on his path of salvation, which was his grace, which is sufficient. Magic genie. I just love saying that. Ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss. You asked for something that was not his will, that ye may consume it upon your lust. It was all about what you wanted, not what God wanted for you. So you go round, round with this. Better just to know the deal. God's declared the end from the beginning. Everything is set. When you come to him, you ask to be able to handle his will. Whatever you want to ask for, say, if it be your will, Father or Lord. I would like this cup removed from me. It usually should be in the way of protecting you from your enemies because you're busy telling the truth and it's costing you. Leading up to possibly costing you your life. Do you think that the scripture saith in vain? Ooh, I skipped right over this one. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that friendship with the world is enmity to God? Whosoever there will be a friend of the world is enemy of God. Right? Because didn't the Lord say, if the world hated you, remember it hated me before it hated you, but I have chosen you, not your free will, God's will. He chooses us. I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. That's all part of being sheep. It's part of your call. It's part of your walk. It's part of real faith. Do ye think the scripture saith in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy? Do you think the scriptures have no meaning? They say that God is passionate, that the spirit has placed within us should be faithful to him, that the spirit he has placed in us should be faithful to him. And he gives grace generously, as the scriptures say. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. See, sheep aren't proud and they don't boast. So humble yourselves before God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Which is what every bit of this whole process is, what God's ordained in you, for the foundation of the world. If you be so blessed to have that hope. Do ye think that the scripture saith in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy? But he giveth more grace. Wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but he giveth grace to the humble. Submit yourselves, therefore, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. All right, I just want to read it in the King James. Let's continue on in Daniel 6. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom. Now, this is no longer Babylon. This is the Medes and the Persians. Hopefully, you're watching these in order. But they could find no occasion or fault in Daniel, for as much as he was faithful, neither was he there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. Then the presidents and princes assembled together to the king, and said thus unto him, King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom and governors and princes and the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make firm decree. See, because the thing was, once the king signed his signet, that was sealed. So let it be written, so let it be said, so let it be done. That's the way it was going to be. The king himself couldn't even reverse it. Having consulted together to establish a royal statute. Now, so in other words, they're bringing to him a law that he would like to sign into effect. And if he, as king, says yes and seals it, then it is established. There's no turning back. Have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king. In other words, except for you. They can ask you. Because, see, the king represented their gods. The king was like a god. Except for thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign it in writing, that it be not changed, according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he did for a time. We'll get to the rest tomorrow. Love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.